Chris, this is Joel. Sure enjoyed hanging with you here. Seen you hit a lot of balls outside up on the range. Again, obviously really like the way that you keep that ball in place so nicely with your driver, especially, Chris, even though you weren't hitting it fantastic this day. And then it's fantastic again. See how that club head is dead on that plane line on the downswing, on that original shaft plane line. See, that's where I drew the line, right on your original shaft plane in your setup. And it's coming right down that line on the downswing, Chris. So that is fantastic. Parallel to the plane line in your follow through. So that is very good news. And from face on, a lot of things look really good. Then it's a little different here, the way you see there's some daylight between your forearms and your left hand really hasn't disappeared like it does for the vast majority of tour players at that point. See how much more his left hand is underneath his right hand at that point in the follow through because of the conventional release that we talked about. Whereas yours is more firm rested there, and you see that daylight between your forearms. And then hit a few shots here with your right elbow in a much different position there as you started your downswing, that little downswing. Trying to get that right elbow more leading the blow instead of pushing it. So I'm looking forward to hear how that's felt the last couple of weeks, Chris. And from face on, this is how it would look different. Where you don't see any daylight at that point in this little downswing. We see right even here there's a lot of daylight between your forearms, between your elbows as you start down. There, see your right elbow is closer to your side at that point in that little downswing that you made over here on our left. And over here, see your right hand's covering over your left. Much more so on the new blue over here on our left as we look at it, Chris. That's much more the conventional kind of release through the ball. But as we talked about, man, your ball striking is one of the better points of your game. So, again, I'm looking forward to hearing how that's felt the last couple of weeks as you've felt that in your practice. I look forward to hearing how that has gone. And again, remember, distance is more important than direction in your full swing. And you can see that right here, Chris, on this video. This is Taylor a couple years ago. See, he just hit 10 putts. So they look like pretty 10 normal putts. One of them went in the hole, so there are 9 balls left there. That looks pretty normal. There's the hole right there on that little pin right there. But then if we come around and stand to the side, here we're looking down the y-axis from where Taylor hit. Then if we come around and stand on the x-axis like I did with you, now we see sure enough that 8 of them were perfect, but 2 of them were a little short, and that's where his 3 putts would indeed tend to come from. And you look at it from the blimp view up here, and sure enough, on the y-axis is the challenge. It's almost no challenge to hit putts, chips, and pitches straight, Chris, but you want to know that distance is way more important than direction. Very simple principle, but very meaty, very relevant, very important to get good at to become a better short game player. So thanks.
Okay, now we're going to look at the deep squat. We're also going to convert to the K-trainer. We're going to look at some movement. What we're only going to look at is side bend movement with the K-trainer, okay? Okay, put your arms over your head. Let's have you do a squat and let's see what it looks like. Good. Come back up. Do another one. A couple of dysfunctional moves. As you can see, the K-vest turned red a couple times. Well, what I normally see, an athlete go down a little bit. This is what I normally see with some of my athletes. That's about it, as far as we go. We'll see the knees coming together. We'll bend them together. And as you can see, it totally turns red on the K-trainer there. Some of the corrective exercises that we certainly would do, don't just have a gentleman hold a weight, 10-pound weight straight out here. What this weight does, starts to engage the whole core. Now do the squat. And how much easier that is. The weight just drags you right down, the core is activated, the hips totally open up. Some of the other things that we do to correct this is where you use a cheer, put your heels up on the board, and now do your squat. A little bit of rotation at the bottom of the squat. Much better than it originally was.
This is Joel Suggs. I sure enjoyed meeting you down at the Cincinnati Golf Show this weekend and showing you your swing on the 2D equipment that I have. And so I want to take about 2 or 3 minutes to just show you around Meadowlink. This is the studio I use in the winter for all my students. You see there's the down-the-line camera angle for our 2D equipment. And then we have the face-on camera angle also. And then what we also have here is 3D equipment to where I can show you your swing from 6 different camera angles with this 3D equipment. And we can get your swing from down to the 1/120th of a second in terms of exactly what your hips, shoulders, and hands are doing in the swing. And then also, I have the most realistic hitting curve I've ever seen from puttersedge.com. So when you hit your full shot, it feels as realistic as possible. And then I have 3 different green speeds for you to practice your putting. 9.5 on the stem meter, 10.5 on the stem meter, and 12.5 on the stem meter. That's benefited my students tremendously. And then also I have a lot of learning aids like this Smart Stick. You can see the rest of those learning aids over here in my bag that we can work on to help you learn the certain fields in your golf swing that you and I both want. And then also I help my students a lot with their equipment through the winter. This is a frequency analyzer where we twang your club and it gives us a reading here. And then also we plot your whole set, each club on these lines to see if the set is really matched or not. Quite often they aren't, and it helps my students tremendously when they find out what clubs are the offending clubs. And then if we get tired of being indoors and we want to go outdoors and hit some, we can do that. It's my daughter! Ellie! Good to see you. I haven't seen her in weeks. No wonder you've been gone, Ellie. You've been out here playing in the snow all this time. But this is our natural turf area. This is closed until April, as you can see. But it's a fantastic area where we can step outside and hit some balls and get some real ball flight. Or, if we get pretty satisfied and things are looking better on the video here, we're kind of cooped up inside and want to go outside, we can step on out and hit balls and see real ball flight for about 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, however long you and I can stand the cold, out into the air, and we see them land at these different flags. I have a yardage book for this driving range. It's the first one I've ever seen in my life where we know exactly what it is with the front, back, and middle of each green. And again, the covered area here is heated, so we stay out there for about 5, 10, 15 minutes, like I said, and it enables us to see some ball flight. And then we get satisfied that things are looking the way we want, and we come back inside, take off our coat, and look again at the video equipment to see how your swing's looking, to make sure that you understand it. And then notice too, my exercise ball up top here, and then also, so I help my students a lot with their fitness through the winter, and then I will help you also with your sports psychology, with your golf psychology from the golfpsych.com people down in Texas. That's helped my students tremendously a lot over the years too. So again, I sure enjoyed meeting you down at the Cincinnati Golf Show this weekend. I look forward to seeing you again out here this summer at Meadowlinks, or even right now in the winter. I have a lot of people that work on their games with me right through the winter. Check out more information about the things I do to help you at joelsuggs.com. Take care.